Hey guys, here's our final exam, Unit 8 review for Precalc. So the first question just asked us to evaluate, and I guess before I even get there, this whole unit review for Unit 8 is about logs. And something to remember about logs is logs and exponentials kind of go together, and so we're just going to be keeping an eye out for that as we go. So number 1 is asking us to evaluate the natural log of the cube root of e squared. Another thing to think about when we think of value is we're simplifying this. So the first thing I notice is that this cube root, a root is the same as a fractional exponent. So I'm going to rewrite this as e squared to the 1/3, because cube rooting is the same as raising it to the 1/3. Okay, well that's the same thing as ln of e to the 2/3. Some of you can kind of recognize that the natural log and e are inverse operations. They undo each other, but another way to think about this is ln is the same thing as log base e of e to the 2/3. Log base e of e, they cancel each other out, so I'm only left with 2/3. Okay, for practice we can do another one. So I'll call this 1b. Okay, so let's say I had log base 2 of 16 to the 1/2. We're going to evaluate that, or in other words, we're going to try to simplify that. If you want to try it by yourself, pause the video and give it a go. But I'm going to just jump right into solving it. So again, pause it if you'd like to try it yourself first. This is kind of the opposite of what we saw before, where we turned our root into a fractional exponent. I'm actually going to say, well, wait a minute. If I have 16 to the 1/2, that's the same as square rooting 16. And the square root of 16 is 4. Okay, so this is asking the question, 2 to the what power is equal to 4? Well, 2 squared is equal to 4, so the answer is 2. Okay, so now we're going to get into solving for x, and so there's a couple things we'll be looking at doing. For 2 and 3, we're going to focus on condensing first, so we're going to condense first. In 4 and 5, we're going to look for a common base, is what we're going to be focusing on doing. And then number 7 is actually a bad problem, so please get rid of that. It actually doesn't work out. It gives you an impossible situation. And then for number 6, it's just going to force us to rewrite. So again, these are the 3 big things that we did. So we'll use this space right here. These are going to be our 3 tricks: condensing, finding a common base, and rewriting. So for instance, if we have an exponential, we'll turn it into a log, or vice versa. Now I spelled that really special. Rewriting, we'll pretend that's an N. Rewriting. Okay, so for number 2 and number 3, the first thing I have to do, we said, is I need to condense them. So remember, when I subtract, that's the same as condensing the insides but dividing on the inside. So we're going to divide the arguments. Now in this specific problem, I have a natural log on both sides, so I can actually undo that. The technical way we undo that is by doing e to the on both sides, and that those undo each other, but normally we can just cross off the ln because we recognize it's happening on both sides. So now I have x over x minus 1 is equal to 2. I'm going to start by multiplying both sides by x minus 1. When I distribute, I get 2x minus 2. I'm going to subtract that onto this side, and I end up with x equals 2. Now remember, we should always check to make sure that our answer doesn't give us something negative inside of a log. So if I plug in, I'll get ln of 2, that's fine. If I plug in, I get ln of 2 minus 1, so ln of 1, that's also fine. So just as a reminder, we can't take the log of a negative number, so it's good to check to make sure the answer we get doesn't cause that to happen. So number 3 is a really similar situation. I have to condense this first, so that's going to give me log base 2 of, we multiply these, equals 3. Now in the previous problem, I was able to notice I had a log on both sides, so I got rid of them. But in this problem, I'm going to rewrite this. So I'm going to start by putting this as, so my base is going to stay the same. Okay. Well, 2 cubed is 8. Okay. And then now I can divide both sides by 5. Okay. I need to take a quick break, guys, but I will finish the last part of this video in a little bit.